Now on News 6, a critical shortage of nurses across the state.
Nurses are basically the backbone of healthcare.
The new solutions coming to Central Florida. Plus, can Universal compete with Disney?
It's a wonderful thing to have this creative tension.
We're taking a look at how each stack up before Epic Universe is opening and the technology being used to track newborns. This is News 6 Mornings.
Hey, good morning on your Thursday at 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Warmoth. Trooper Steve is off this week. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos here now with your forecast.
Yes.
Another top story today, the weather, the dry weather, and the fire risk that's coming with this long stretch of dry weather that we've had.
Dry and hot. It's the combination, right?
Breezy too.
And it's also breezy. So the moment you get the trio like that, our wildfire season really tends to kind of, no pun intended, but spark up, right? So let's talk about the weather forecast out the door right now. Downtown Orlando, not looking too bad, but notice, you see there's just kind of that grayish cloud cover overhead. That's actually some of that lingering smoke from what we've been seeing over the last couple of days of those pop-up fires that we've been having to experience. So right now, Orlando through Sanford, Daytona Beach, all at about 66 degrees. We're in the low 70s right now in Melbourne due to that strong onshore breeze. Now, because we do have some of that lingering smoke from some of those fires, our air quality is not horrible, but I do want to just kind of turn your attention to it real quick. If you or someone you know has kind of respiratory issues, asthma, tend to be a little more sensitive to air quality. And you might notice this out the door this morning. I do feel like as the sea breeze starts to kick in this afternoon, it should help kind of mix out some of that smoke. So fingers crossed we don't have any added smoke with any new fires popping up. But fire danger, unfortunately, still on the high side, mainly across our inland zones. But even in Brevard, yesterday we had a medium fire danger. We still had fires develop. So this is one of those, this is the time of the year we just have to really focus on those extra precautions due to the kind of primed environment that we are dealing with right now. Right now, we're in those 60s area wide, back to nearing 90 degrees inland, near 80 along the coast. We'll have more details when we can finally see some rain. I can tell you that it is in our 7-day forecast coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways. They are backing up already on this Thursday. Crystal Moyer is watching them with your News 6 traffic update.
Yeah, in Sumter County, we're still following this live look with the DOT cameras along I-75 northbound. After a crash with injuries, blocked lanes earlier this morning. It's now been pushed off to the right-hand shoulder, still affecting traffic though. It is slow go as you're approaching I-75 from the turnpike. Just allow a few extra minutes. Traffic is starting to recover with a 23-minute ride between the turnpike and State Road 40 in Ocala. There's also a broken down vehicle. This is in the Orlando area along the turnpike southbound just south of OBT. Middle lane is blocked. Just watch out for those flashing lights. Justin?
Well, Crystal, our days of hot and dry weather once again helping to fuel new brush fires in central Florida. Some of the worst conditions have been in southern Brevard County. Take a look at that. Really close to homes. Multiple fires breaking out yesterday in Palm Bay alone. One of them forcing families to have to evacuate their homes. News 6's Mark Lehman. They're live for us this morning. The good news, Mark, those homes are now out of danger.
Yeah, crews were able to get things under control, but there were definitely some tense moments as the flames spread quickly, and that's because of the dry conditions, which is exactly what we're seeing where we're at near Malabar Road. We have some dried out dead palmetto leaves on the ground here and trunks from a palm tree charred, and there's lots of these spread throughout about the 5 acres here in the woods near Malabar Road and I-95, and it's these conditions that are making things very difficult for firefighters. Take a look at some video that was captured yesterday. This is a traffic camera near I-95. You can see just how close the fire was burning to the interstate as the smoke drifted across the lanes yesterday afternoon. Now, flames also sparked up in the compound, and another fire was caused when a Palm Bay police patrol car unexpectedly caught fire off of Onyx Drive. That happened when an officer was checking out a known homeless camp. It's not clear how the cruiser caught fire, but police say their officer was slightly hurt trying to put out the flames. We spoke with one homeowner who says the fire started burning the fence on his property.
I went over there, I saw the fire going. I go back and I fill up a trash can full of water, and by the time I get back, the fire had just grown. So I just dumped the trash can on it.
Unfortunately, crews were able to get a handle on that fire and the others across Palm Bay. After keeping homes from damage, officials ended a precautionary evacuation for the area. And out here this morning, you can see just how much smoke is drifting, lingering in the air out here. And there's still a lot of concerns about fires sparking back up as the temperatures warm up, and with no significant rain in sight, that fire danger remains high. And because of that, there's a burn ban in place for here in Brevard County. For now, reporting live in Palm Bay, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Leaving all of that haze out there, Mark. Thanks. Brevard County's not alone in this. Another brush fire yesterday in East Orange County got dangerously close to the post office near the Waterford Lakes Shopping Center. The good news here, it's now 100% contained. More and more local counties, meantime, they're taking action to try and prevent new fires from breaking out. We're working on that story for the bottom of the hour.
Right now, live pictures from Vatican City, where the body of Pope Francis is lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica. This is where the Pope will stay until his funeral on Saturday. The Vatican says nearly 20,000 mourners paid their respects Wednesday, and it caused officials to have to extend public hours well into the night. Italy's prime minister among the tens of thousands to walk past the Pope's wooden coffin. Crowds, including many Americans, filing in well past midnight. Around 170 dignitaries and heads of state, including President Trump, expected to attend the Pope's funeral on Saturday, which Vatican officials say will mostly take place outside in St. Peter's Square.
Right now, police in Ocoee are asking for your help to try and find a 15-year-old who now hasn't been seen in nearly 2 days. Take a look at your screen. This is Clara Charles. She was last seen Tuesday at Ocoee High School. Investigators say she never got on the bus after school. She has black and red braids, and she was wearing blue jeans and had a spray ground book bag at the time. If you have any information about where Clara could be, you can call Ocoee Police. It's now up to a judge to decide if some key evidence against the man accused of killing 13-year-old Madeline Soto will be allowed at his upcoming trial.
Lawyers for Stephen Stearns back in court for another hearing yesterday, and they claim investigators improperly seized Stearns' cell phone, arguing that the incriminating evidence authorities say they found on that phone should be inadmissible at trial. Stearns himself actually took the stand to testify.
And what was your understanding, if any, as to what they were going to do with it?
They were just going to check my Google Maps and check to see if I was logged into Google, and that was it.
But prosecutors say an audio recording confirms that Stearns voluntarily handed over his phone to detectives and gave them permission to examine everything. It may be several weeks before the judge issues a ruling. Stearns' first trial on sex abuse charges currently set to start in July, his murder case to follow later this year. With just over a week left in the legislative session, we now know several proposed bills won't be making it through this year. Among the bills that are likely dead is one that would lower the age to purchase certain guns from 21 years old back down to 18. That would have reversed rules put in place following the school shooting in Parkland. Also not making the cut, a bill to mandate more swimming pool safety measures, a proposal mandating cursive writing be taught in elementary schools, and a measure that would have banned certain flags, like pride flags, outside government buildings and schools. One thing lawmakers do have to agree on is a budget, and right now there are some big differences in the House and Senate, especially when it comes to property and sales taxes.
Right now, Florida is facing critical shortages across all health professionals, especially nurses.
Yeah, and to try and rebound, one local college is about to open a new nursing school. As News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez shows us new this morning, that is not the only healthcare option coming to Central Florida.
Nurses are on the front lines and in high demand.
A 2021 report by the Florida Hospital Association found that Florida would have a shortage of nearly 60,000 nurses by the year 2035 due to its aging and growing population.
To get more people in scrubs, Nuke University Florida Technical College is bringing its acclaimed nursing school to the Sunshine State.
What would that be related to?
Its new school in Kissimmee is officially open to students looking to get their RN, BSN, and so much more.
So there's a huge shortage of nurses in Florida. And we really felt also here in this particular community of Osceola County, during COVID, we were actually able to assist Advent Health by providing some bilingual staff and medical assisting students to help with vaccine hesitancy and to run vaccine clinics. This really pointed out to us that not only is there a gap in nurses, but there's a gap in nurses that are reflective of our community.
The hope is these young students will soon be staffing facilities like this one.
And I'm currently standing in our trauma room here in our new emergency department.
open that up.
It's Orlando Health's newest facility in Waterford Lakes. Nurses here are trained in trauma response and can serve patients from pediatric to geriatric.
The need for nurses is growing, and the need for high-level nurses is growing.
As more and more potential patients enter the state, schools and healthcare providers are working to get more people interested in medicine to treat those in need. In Kissimmee, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, turning to your weather now. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside behind
Let's do
you.
it.
Oh, Daytona Beach.
I'll move out of the frame.
You know, it's so hot, Candace. I just want to put my toes in the water. Well, it's
Well,
probably bath
water
water.
temperatures in the mid-70s, so
Okay.
we're slowly starting to warm up our sea surface temperatures, especially on the Gulf side. They're getting more into those upper 70s. The only problem is the moment you start adding 80-degree water temperatures, that means hurricane season is here. So yeah, I listen, for every nice thing I've got for your forecast, it all kind of balances out, right? Speaking of, today, comfortably warm out there, Daytona Beach. It's going to be cooler along our coastline because we do have that ocean breeze, and that's going to keep temperatures nearing about 80 degrees by 3 p.m. Right now, we're in those 60s. That breeze currently pretty variable at this point in time. Further inland, though, we are going to get closer to near 90 this afternoon. Now, we are going to get a fresh new drought monitor update in about an hour or so. Drought monitor updates every Thursday, but we have not seen any rain in the last 2 weeks across Central Florida. So there will be that potential of worsening conditions, just like what we saw last week with the added extreme drought in parts of South Florida. But look how dry our April has been so far. Right now, Daytona Beach has only seen 0.02 of an inch of rain, making it the second driest April on record, 5th driest in Melbourne. Still looking at the top 10 warmest in Leesburg. Now, we are adding some rain to the forecast. Not a whole lot. It's not going to completely give a nice big dent into our drought that we'd like, but so we need a little bit of rain each afternoon. So it looks like we're going to be bumping up those rain chances come Monday and Tuesday. We'll be talking about how much rain we could see with these rain chances coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Moyer. She's got your News 6 traffic update.
We're still tracking those delays in Sumter County along I-75 northbound after a crash with injuries blocked several lanes this morning. The crash now pushed off to the right-hand shoulder. Unfortunately, we're still seeing some slow traffic, 20 miles per hour along I-75 just north of the turnpike. It's going to take some time for traffic to recover. Here's a live look. This is where the crash happened with the DOT cameras. You could see still a lot of activity going on the right-hand shoulder. About 23 minutes between the turnpike and State Road 40. The time is now 7:12 on your Thursday. Coming up, it's a battle of the theme parks.
Sure is. Epic Universe officially opens in less than a month. But what does that mean for Central Florida's other attractions? I'll show you what the experts think could happen.
But first, several states now banding together to sue President Trump. What they want to see happen following a series of controversial tariffs. You're watching News 6 Mornings. We'll be right back.
Developing right now, a group of 12 states now suing the Trump administration over the president's use of tariffs. So the president says he can impose tariffs single-handedly due to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So that gives the president authority to respond to unusual and extraordinary threats. However, the lawsuit argues That's an overreach. It notes the Constitution gives Congress the power to collect taxes and duties.
Arizona cannot afford this Trump tax increase. And make no mistake, no matter what Orwellian doublespeak the White House uses, tariffs are taxes.
The lawsuit comes as Trump is warning negotiations during his 90-day pause on so-called reciprocal tariffs might not last 90 days in some cases. He says he might have some rates settled in 2 or 3 weeks.
New this morning, we're getting a better idea of the number of foreign students in the U.S. who have had their visas revoked, and that includes some here in Central Florida. According to a count done by CNN, more than 1,500 student visas have been revoked by the Trump administration at more than 200 colleges. The State Department said last month it was focusing on those who faced criminal charges or who acted, quote, counter to national interests. We learned yesterday 15 students at UCF have had their visas revoked in just the last month. The university, though, says it wasn't given specific details and that it will continue to comply with all state and federal laws.
The battle for Orlando's vacation dollar is about to get a lot more competitive. Epic Universe officially opening in less than a month, turning Universal into a 3-park destination. A move that is no doubt ramping up the theme park war with its crosstown rival.
Do you prefer Disney or Universal?
It's the ultimate showdown in the theme park capital of the world.
We prefer Disney.
Disney?
They prefer Universal.
Universal so far, yeah.
Disney versus Universal.
I wanted to say Disney at first and lean towards Disney, then I thought about Universal.
For Disney. They got more to offer.
Yeah. Opinions aside, the mouse wears the crown based on park volume, with around 50 million annual visitors compared to Universal's roughly 20 million. But with the debut of Epic Universe just weeks away, is Disney's lead about to shrink?
If you were Disney, would you be concerned?
Yeah, definitely. I think they are.
They are?
Yeah.
Of course, Epic Universe isn't just adding new rides, it's adding immersive lands and 3 new hotels, all designed to keep families on Universal property for days, if not weeks at a time. The question is whether that will have an impact on Disney, which has long dominated the week-long family stays inside the so-called Disney bubble.
Now it's like, okay, if I go to Epic, then I can also go to Islands, and I can maybe also go to Universal and Volcano Bay. And
yeah.
There's all the stuff.
As its crosstown rival built its multi-billion-dollar park, Disney has added new rides and experiences to its arsenal. Universal has done the same over the decades. A coincidence, or is it strategy?
Do you find it interesting that it seems like when one theme park introduces something, the other one is pretty quickly
It's very interesting. I watch their social media and I'm like, ooh, I feel like somebody's spying on someone's like, oh, they're releasing this, now we got to do something.
It's like siblings, you know, they'll nudge each other from time to time just to kind of get the best out of each other. And so to an extent, from a customer experience point of view, it's a wonderful thing to have this creative tension.
Means better theme parks, right? Well, Richard Lewin there, he is an international business professor at Rollins College, and he told me the real war actually surrounds intellectual property, or IP. Just look at what Harry Potter has meant for Universal, and now it's adding Nintendo and How to Train Your Dragon to its growing IP portfolio. And there was a time when, of course, Universal had all the Marvel characters. And
we were talking about that.
Yes. And so that was they were lacking in that department. It seems like they're on the up and up when it comes to acquiring that IP, which is key. But the bottom line is, I think, and you talk to Richard Lewin there, he is an international business professor, but also a big time into theme parks, and he's like, a rising tide lifts all boats. Yes. Disney will also profit off of Epic's opening.
They're already here.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing is that you have so many parks with Disney too that they're now just starting to do little tweaks here and there. You have Monsters Incorporated.
Yeah.
You have, Thunder Mountains renovating into
the
something.
Cars.
Yeah,
the cars. Long term, I think Disney is going to be watching how park attendance at Epic turns out and seeing if there is an appetite for maybe
what the interest is.
Another park for Disney. They have the space.
They have the land.
They got this. Yeah, they got the land.
I can't keep track. I got to start saving more money. At least we don't have to fly here, right?
That's
Here's
the key.
Florida.
We take this area for granted so
We really
much
do.
with the beaches and the theme parks.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, Kennedy Space Center, blah, 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 blah. It goes
We got
on
it all,
and
man.
on.
We got it all.
My goodness. All right,
Melting
let's talk
pot.
about the weather.
Was that from the Minions? The blah, the blah, the blah.
And blah, blah, blah. That's
that's the
Hotel
Transylvania.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
We just watched that in the middle of the. That's supposed to be a Halloween movie, but somehow it popped up on our I have a very strict Halloween movies. We can't watch it until it's October. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. Let's talk theme park forecast. All right, we've got Epic here on one side. We have Animal Kingdom on the other. No matter where you are in Central Florida, whether you're at a theme park or a playground park, just find ways of staying cool. Highs today back into the upper 80s, finding some shade, keeping hydrated, because it's going to be another hot stretch. We are going to actually heat up a little further, though, as we head into your weekend, back into those low 90s, especially on Sunday. So as we look ahead into the forecast, drought, fire conditions, all that remains still very high until further notice. We need some decent days of rain. We don't need flooding events. We just need a little bit of rain on Monday, a little bit more rain on a Wednesday, and then a Friday. That would be nice, right? We're going to slowly start trending into more of a wetter setup. Not big time rain, but a little more rain as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Now, temperatures out the door. There is no rain to contend with on your Thursday morning. We are all in those 60s, low 70s already along our coastline, 75 already in areas in and around Titusville. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. It's going to be quite a spread. So that ocean breeze is going to keep you near 80 degrees along the coast, halfway zone along I-4 in the mid-80s. But about 10 degrees warmer than the coastline, nearing 90 across 75. So Ocala, the Villages, Wildwood could have another day back into the 90s. But let's talk moisture tracker. This is not actual rainfall, but I'm trying to show you the trends, right? So the rain has been staying up across the deep south, but notice what happens as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Parts of Central Florida will finally start tapping into some of that moisture. How much rain could we see with some of that added moisture? Some rainfall rates show about 1/4 of an inch. Some show up to about 1/2 of an inch. We just got the latest update, and it's actually trending a little lower. So again, we're going to continue to iron out those details. But at this point in time, even a trace of rain, even a tenth of rain is still welcomed in what will be another dry stretch into the weekend. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Moyer. She's got your News 6 traffic update.
I just saw a tow truck take that semi involved in that crash in Sumter County away. The road ranger is now out of the way, and traffic starting to move at speed along I-75. This is northbound, just north of the turnpike. We are still seeing some heavy delays just south of this area, so just allow a few extra minutes to get through. Here's another look at that area as well. So again, this is I-75 just north of the turnpike heading towards Sumter County. Don't forget, there's also a broken down vehicle in Orange County Turnpike southbound just south of OBT. That middle lane remains blocked. The Orlando Magic come up short in Game 2 against the Boston Celtics.
At the bottom of the hour, we're going to show you the highlights as the team now heads back home for Game 3.
But first, it's a career that's in urgent need of employees, air traffic controllers, the local program allowing students to go from the classroom straight to the runway. A groundbreaking program at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University is fast-tracking students to air traffic control towers. The program comes as the nation faces a critical shortage. Now, students are getting hands-on experience in the university's ATC labs. The new program, called Enhanced Air Traffic Collegiate Training, lets graduates bypass the FAA Academy and other requirements, which could take years before they got hired. News 6 spoke with the first 4 students getting ready to graduate.
That's where I find the fun in it, and that's where the challenge is, and I think that's what appeals to a lot of people is the creative problem solving and the then it's never going to be the same.
The university expects to graduate up to 120 students annually from this program.
Well, it's a chance to own something from one of your favorite TV shows. Julian's channel's surfing auction is already accepting online bids. There are more than 600 items from iconic TV shows like Edith Bunker's House Dress from All in the Family, Dan Aykroyd's Conehead from Saturday Night Live, and some props from Mad Men, ready to go home to the highest bidder. For Batman fans, take a look at that. That's the Riddler's green suit jacket and vest from the 1960s series. And David Letterman has parted with the Velcro suit he wore to jump on walls during the 80s. Online bidding is open now at juliansauctions.com. The items will be sold in a live auction May 7th and 8th. So quite a few great items up for grabs. Well, breathing some new life into a historic local theater.
Still ahead, what Winter Garden now has planned months after one decades-old landmark was forced to close its doors.
Live with ClickOrlando.com. You're watching News 6 Mornings.
Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos out the door right now. It's a mild start, still dry. We do have a little bit of an air quality issue as we are continuing to see some of that smoke lingering from yesterday's fires that were popping up. So overall, though, and still mostly sunny skies, make sure you got the sprinklers going on their correct schedule, as it is still going to be a dry, hot day. 87 is going to be our high this afternoon. A touch cooler as we head towards our coastline, nearing about 80. As we get results here, we will heat up before we bring back finally a chance for rain early next week. Now let's check on those roadways with Krista Moyer.
So an update on that crash we've been talking about along I-75. Some good news here. No delays to report. Things have gotten back to their normal speeds along I-75 after a crash blocked lanes just north of the Turnpike. What we are dealing with now is a broken down vehicle along the Turnpike southbound, just south of OBT. That middle lane is blocked, so you may just tap on your brakes just a little bit. The news continues next. Remember, you can get updates on our big stories anytime on clickorlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Live with clickorlando.com. You're watching News 6 Mornings.
It is 7:30 right now. Let's get a check of our top stories. Crews in Palm Bay watching for flare-ups after battling multiple brush fires in the city. One of them forced the evacuations of some homes yesterday as a precaution. And with no rain in sight, the fire danger staying high.
And new this morning, deputies in Volusia County are looking for a felon on the run. They say Cody Henderson is wanted out of multiple counties in Georgia, but got away after taking off from a traffic stop and then abandoning his truck in Daytona Beach.
And leaders in Winter Gardens had to talk tonight about a plan to revive the Garden Theater. It was a mainstay in the city for years, but suddenly shut down last year because of money problems.
Turning back to the weather, if you like it sunny and hot, hot and sunny, that's what you're going to get.
That's what we've been getting. A little too much of that going on. Let's get a check of your weather with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. There might be some rain coming in the next couple days, so
it is in the 7-day.
I feel like it's a bottle, like you know when you take some water and you put it in a little bottle cap, it's like a little
sip.
That's it.
A little sip.
Listen, people have survived on less water than that, right? So. We just need to start working our way back into a couple scattered showers every week or so. Not a bad idea. Look at Cape Canaveral right now. There's a bit of a haze. You see it's kind of that yellowy orange color. That's because we still have some of that lingering smoke from yesterday. We have a big ridge of high pressure, and that acts, speaking of a lid, think of like a top of a boiling pot of water. You got that big ridge of high pressure, and that's going to cap all that fog down across parts of central Florida. So that's why we do have a little bit of a haze in place. Air quality is actually worsening as the morning progresses. The sun's starting to come up. That tends to kind of worsen. So you can see we're looking at a moderate air quality right now as that East Coast sea breeze is pushing all that smoke from Brevard County from yesterday's fires further into areas of Osceola and Orange County. Speaking of fires, fire danger still in the moderate to high range for another day as temperatures continuing to go from the 60s back into near 90 degrees this afternoon. Now, rain chances, we're trending upwards finally come Monday and Tuesday. Again, we desperately need the rain, but we're looking at some seasons of change, all right? So we have rainy season tends to begin towards the end of May. That's about 32 days away. Hurricane season starts in about 37 days. And then we have summer. That starts June 20th. 56 days away. We'll have more details, though, on when we maybe can start tapping into some rain in the forecast coming up. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Morris. You got your News 6 traffic update.
Taking a peek towards Metro Orlando. If you're traveling along I-4, and this is heading from the Dr. Phillips area and south towards Champions Gate, that's where we're going to see some delays building heading eastbound along I-4. Other than that, we're looking pretty smooth. Your drive times, if you're traveling westbound along I-4 between 417 and State Road 50, 26 minutes. Traveling eastbound between Osceola Parkway and State Road 50, 25 minutes.
As we've been telling you, most of Central Florida under a high brush fire threat because of that persistent hot and dry condition that we've been telling you about.
And we've seen sparks flying in southern Brevard County with not one, not two, but 3 brush fires just yesterday alone. News 6's Mark Lehman joins us live from Palm Bay. And Mark, these fires forced several evacuations.
Yeah, several people were forced from their homes because the fire was just too close. It also spread very quickly, which is exactly what we saw where we're at near I-95 and Malabar Road. About 5 acres of the woods here were scorched when the fire broke out yesterday afternoon, but there's still plenty of fuel left behind. Right over here we have some dried out palmetto leaves. You can hear just how crispy it is, and with these conditions, there are worries the fire could spark up again.
Crews in Palm Bay were stretched thin as multiple fires burned across the city yesterday afternoon. One left behind the charred remains of a patrol car near Onyx Drive. Palm Bay police say the officer assigned to the vehicle was checking out a homeless camp when the cruiser, quote, unexpectedly caught fire.
There was fire over there, a bunch of people yelling.
Justin Hansen says the flames were approaching his property when a fence started burning.
I went over there, I saw the fire going. I go back and I fill up a trash can full of water. And by the time I get back, the fire had just grown. So I just dumped the trash can on it.
Another fast-moving brush fire sparked up near I-95 and Malabar Road, sending smoke across the interstate. At one point, a precautionary evacuation was put in place, with one man telling us the flames came within 50 yards of his house.
I started seeing smoke over there. I'm like, oh no. So I've been doing a year's worth of work on the house, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, now it's going to burn to the ground. And it didn't. Thank God.
The order was lifted as crews got the flames under control, but with no rain in sight, the fire danger remains high.
Out here this morning, you can see that there is still a fire burning near Malabar Road and I-95, and because of the ripe conditions for fires, a burn ban remains in place for Brevard County. As for that fire involving the patrol car, at this point it's not clear how the fire started. Police do say that the officer that was responsible for that car was slightly hurt while trying to put out the flames. For now, reporting live in Palm Bay, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Yeah, that could have been much worse. I'm glad he's going to be okay. Mark, thanks. And with the weather staying dry, almost all of Central Florida is now under a mandatory burn ban. Flagler County became the latest to issue a ban yesterday, officially making things like fireworks and yard burning off limits. Emergency workers are urging people to also clear away anything around your home that could easily catch fire.
New this morning, deputies are asking for help to get results and find a wanted fugitive from Georgia who is now on the run in Volusia County. Deputies say they tried to stop 39-year-old Cody Henderson earlier this week after spotting his truck in Daytona Beach, but he took off from a traffic stop and then ditched his truck on the beach.
Hey, did you see anybody run from this truck? He went up that way?
Deputies did a search but could not find him. They say Henderson is wanted on several charges, including making terroristic threats. They also say he is known to carry a gun. So if you see him or have any information, call 911.
New this morning, the city of Winter Park unanimously approves an agreement to keep police officers on public school campuses. It comes after a months-long standoff with Orange County Public Schools. The deal calls for the district to pay the city at least $740,000 over the 2 years for the program. The mayor saying student safety has always been the priority.
Winter Park has always prioritized the safety of our children. There was no contract for the 24-25 school year until October. However, Winter Park Police were there when school began in August and never missed a day.
The other cities involved in this deal are Apopka, Ocoee, Winter Garden, and Windermere. Happening today, a future business plan on the table for a historic theater in Winter Garden. We're talking about the Garden Theater there. It was forced to close its doors months ago because of money problems, but now leaders are coming together to find its new purpose. News 6's Angie Casada joins us live. And Angie, you spoke to locals who say this theater, it's a staple in the community.
Oh yeah, many tell me this community theater right in the heart of Winter Garden was once bustling with action. Now the city's plan to revive the Garden Theater is hitting home for two sisters who grew up seeing it all. Now, the theater closed last fall after the group running it said it could no longer keep up rising costs. Well, Winter Garden owns it, and city leaders have a new vision. The plan would shift to concerts, tie-in events, and limited rentals, with Parks and Rec programs getting first dibs. For the Segalini sisters and so many others, the return of the spotlight can't come soon enough.
They had like the Milk Money movies growing up, so they would like play the old kids movies. We would come during the summer, and we did see a couple of plays here.
That would be awesome. I think like it's great to keep it alive. It's a really big part of, I think, the old original downtown Winter Garden. It's changed a lot, but it's a really special place.
Now, city leaders are staying quiet until their meeting later on today, but the proposed business plan is already stirring hope for a comeback. Of course, we'll post those details over here on clickorlando.com as soon as they're available. Angie Casada, News 6.
A lot of people love that theater. Thank you, Angie. The Orlando Magic coming up short against the Boston Celtics in Game 2 of the NBA playoffs. The Magic hung in there all night, playing with high energy and physicality. Unfortunately, though, just wasn't enough. Sports Director Jamie Say has a recap from Boston and what we can look forward to when the Magic come home for Game 3.
Despite another brilliant performance from Paolo Banchero and gritty effort on defense, the Orlando Magic fall to the Celtics 109-100 in Game 2. So Orlando returns home down 0-2 in this best-of-7 series. Here's what happened at the Garden last night. The first half was very close. Paolo Banchero taking it in strong for the jam. 32 for Palo. Celtics were up just 3 at the half, but they open up the second half with a run, and Jaylen Brown was massive for the Celtics. The steal and the slam, he drops in 36, and the Celtics go up 2-0 in the series.
A lot of ups and downs, a lot of runs, a lot of adversity that we fought through, which I like for what our guys did in that situation.
They came out the locker room in the third quarter, went on a run, and we had trouble, getting back from that rest of the game.
When they struggle to score, I think we capitalize a little bit more. And, obviously sometimes you're going to have bad shooting nights, but we're going to shoot better at home.
I asked the Magic if atmosphere can impact offense, and they said yes. They're looking forward to getting in front of their home crowd at the Kia Center and get some shots falling there. Game 3 tips off on Friday night at 7 o'clock in Orlando. At TD Garden in Boston, I'm Jamie Say, News 6.
Yeah, they're going to be pumped to be back home in front of the home crowd. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos joins us now. Before we get to the weather, Candace, I do want to make a point.
Yes.
The Magic were down 0-2
Yes,
last year against the Cavs.
And
that
what
went to
happened?
Game 7. They didn't win the series, but it went to Game 7. They got the wins at home, so we'll see what happens when they come back home and play on Friday night.
You're so optimistic. I love
really
that.
not.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I had a lot to say last night when I was watching that game up until like halftime.
And then you had to go to bed.
Then he fell asleep.
We would need the bleep button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that group chat, right? All right, let's talk
Hopefully
about.
that doesn't leak.
That'd actually be quite entertaining. All right, let's look at the satellite and radar composite across the area. We are looking at some moisture just to our north, and you'd think, oh, look at all this cloud cover. All this is coming here. Not the case, because what you don't see is a big ridge of high pressure where the lack of cloud cover is, and that big ridge of high pressure is acting as a roadblock, keeping all the moisture and activity up to the north. So in the meantime, it's just going to be another hot and dry day all across town. We're in the 60s right now across our inland zones, low 70s along the coastline from areas from Daytona Beach, or at least from New Smyrna Beach down through Melbourne. We're at 67 in Cocoa, it's 65 in Palm Coast. So we've got another hour before all classes are back in. We're at 88 degrees by 3 p.m. So as the kids are heading home, or if you're trying to figure out whether or not practices and games are going, there's no weather that's going to be impacting any of your plans later on this afternoon. We're up to 88 with some clouds around, but as long as this big ridge of high pressure remains in control, any action or activity coming in from the north is going to stay to the north. But we are going to be tapping into a little more moisture as we head into early next week. Before we get the rain, though, it's going to be all about the heat. Temperatures by Sunday afternoon will be hitting 92 degrees. And then again, we'll have added rain to the forecast. We'll have more details on that and how much rain we could see coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Moyer. She is watching them for you. She has your News 6 traffic update.
Yeah, we are following a crash in Orlando. This is in the Oak Ridge area, Texas Avenue and Oak Ridge Road. At least one lane is blocked in this area because of a crash. Injuries involved, so we will see a lot of emergency crews heading out. Taking a live look with the FDOT cameras. This is I-95 and Viera. Good morning, Brevard County. You're looking pretty good north and southbound with no delays to report. If you are traveling along I-95, you're looking pretty good from Titusville all the way down towards Palm Bay. No delays to report.
7:42, a Central Florida family welcomes a new baby and gets a modern upgrade to a timeless tradition.
Coming up, how a local hospital is taking a simple footprint to potentially help in a future emergency.
First, though, after a deadly shooting on campus, FSU students marched to the Capitol with a message for lawmakers. The action they're demanding next.
Over 100 Florida State students marched from campus to the state capitol, calling on lawmakers to strengthen gun laws. The walk yesterday follows last week's deadly shooting on campus and ended with a rally urging lawmakers to act in the final weeks of session, just as they did after the mass shooting at Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, where 17 people were killed.
After Parkland happened, the people in my community got together and said that this can never happen again. But it keeps happening.
With just days left, no major gun legislation either way is expected to pass. Meanwhile, lawmakers held a moment of silence in the wake of the FSU shooting during yesterday's legislative session. 2 people were killed, several others hurt last Thursday when a gunman opened fire on campus. The suspected shooter, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, remains in the hospital.
And as the legislative session winds down, the Florida House passed a bill geared towards making condo living more affordable. Many condo owners have been buried by steep hikes in fees since a new law passed after the condo collapse in Surfside. Supporters say this could help owners on fixed incomes stay in their homes, but Governor DeSantis has criticized the House version, saying it sides too much with developers.
While it was well intended, it has created these consequences. So you have seniors on fixed income in relatively modest condos, and they're supposed to cough up $100,000 all of a sudden. So there needs to be a reform, and I called for this to be done in January, and the Speaker of the House refused to act on it. The House has not advanced anything meaningful as of now.
A competing Senate bill has the governor's backing, and now Senate lawmakers have just days to decide which one will make it to his desk. Well, a baby's footprint is usually a sweet keepsake, but now it's also a powerful tool thanks to new technology. One
Central Florida hospital is using a digital system that not only helps parents preserve those memories, but also protects their children in a potential emergency. News 6 anchor Bridget Ellison shows us this different type of digital footprint.
He's full of personality, and he's going to let you know he's here.
The Bibbins family just welcomed their second child, Amir. Mom Denise says her experience in the new hospital was fantastic, and she was impressed with the new digital footprint system for babies' footprints.
And I think it's very convenient to have, and I think it's very important to have the footprints. And I know they also took a picture of him as well, his face. So just being able to have all of that information, you're able to access it quickly, I think is just amazing within itself.
The system by Certiscan saves both time and space for busy hospitals while also connecting families to resources they may need in case of emergency.
Couple the footprint along with mom's fingerprint as well as an image of the baby's face, and so those 3 linked together can add that extra layer of identification for the baby.
Denise says having the footprints accessible online will really help out.
Instead of having to go look for, you know how we can be sometimes as moms, having to pull out everything, keep everything here and there, but it's right there for you to easily access. He's saying hello to you.
Bridget Ellison, News 6.
So Bridget checked, and the system is being used at 6 other hospitals across Central Florida.
And tomorrow she's going to have more on the community impact of a new center for women and babies in Lake Mary. As our community continues to grow, this is a very important piece of that growth, is to have the healthcare component alongside, you know, the more people, the more rooftops. So it's great to see some new things being built and also some new technology being upgraded to adapt to our changing world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And expanding a little bit further, because for mom and babies, when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Time to go. Gotta get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Technology mixed in with safety and things like that. That's awesome. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast for today. Oh my goodness. There's so many April babies coming in the next couple of days, which is so exciting. This week, we're talking about above average temperatures today, tomorrow, and then we're gonna crank up that heat just a little further, especially on Sunday. So you see that kayaker there in the background? Not a bad idea. Finding ways of staying cool, finding the shade, spending time by maybe some waterways, whether it's the beach or the pools, because the weather is certainly going to be cooperating for any outdoor plans you might have this weekend. Now, the only problem is late Sunday and into early Monday and Tuesday, we're adding some rain, which if you ask me, that's not a problem whatsoever, because we desperately need the rain. We have that high fire danger. We have the worsening drought conditions. So even a 20 to 30% chance of rain in the rain gauges is a good thing. So let's look at those temperatures right now. Out the door, we are all in those 60s, few 70s already in areas in and around New Smyrna, Titusville. You're the warm spot at this point. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning, and already you're at 75 degrees. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. We enjoyed a little bit of splash pad fun over the weekend. My family did. So we got the splash pads. It's another way of staying cool while also getting the kids to run around and hopefully tire themselves out for hopefully an hour-long nap. Fingers crossed, right? 88 is our high today in and around Orlando. Maybe a touch cooler the further inland, the further towards the coast you go. So nearing 80 degrees up and down our beaches. Now notice still tons of sunshine, no rain to report, and our rain chances are still going to stay out of the forecast at least until about late Sunday. Because of that, once again, the Storm Prediction Center still highlighting parts of Central Florida under that elevated fire risk. Now, just because you guys along the coastline are not in that elevated zone, that doesn't mean that you're clear of that fire danger. Yesterday, that was a perfect example. This was still the same setup, and we had several fires to pop up there in Brevard County. Mark Lehman's been out there reporting on it. But for today, again, elevated fire risk remains in effect. But then we turn our attention to early next week. We have a weak front that is finally going to nudge that high out of here, and that's going to allow us to tap into a little bit of moisture. Now, this cold front's not bringing us cooler temperatures, but at least it will be adding some more rain into the forecast. So as of Sunday and Monday, rain chances as of now looking like we could hit about a 20 to 30% chance for scattered showers. Some models pick up about 1/4 of an inch, some pick up a little more, a little less. We're still ironing out those details, but at this point in time, any added rain, even into our air, is going to be beneficial with that fire danger. And as you get results here, the full 7-day forecast, although temperatures are going to be in the low 90s, certainly hotter than where we should be for this time of the year. It looks like it will still be a few degrees shy of record breaking. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Moyer. She's got True News 6 traffic update.
Yeah, let's take a live look with the DOT cameras outside right now. This is I-4 near Lake Mary Boulevard. We're seeing a stretch of heavy traffic. I'm not sure what's causing this traffic, but it's only for about 1/4 to 1/2 mile as you're traveling westbound. So just keep that in mind if you're coming from Stanford over towards Lake Mary. You're moving at 20 miles per hour. Yikes. Down towards Champions Gate, you guys know the deal. We're seeing some slowdowns along I-4 eastbound as you're approaching the Champions Gate area heading towards Lake Buena Vista. 20 miles per hour is what you're traveling there. And don't forget about that crash with injuries we've been talking about in Orange County, Texas Avenue and Oak Ridge. At least one lane is blocked there. We are starting to see some delays building.
Orlando International's busiest airline making big cuts. What this could mean for your next trip coming up.
New this morning, Southwest Airlines, Orlando International's largest carrier, is planning to cut flights later this year. The airline says economic uncertainty is to blame and revenue could drop as much as 4% in the second quarter. It's not the only changes it's making. The airline is also shaking up its policies, dropping open seating and those free checked bags. Wow. United and Delta have also announced flight reductions for the second half of the year.
2 new elementary schools in Marion County now have official names. School board members voted unanimously to approve Ross Prairie Elementary and Winding Oaks Elementary. Ross Prairie takes its name from a nearby forest, while Winding Oaks is named after the community it'll serve. The community voted on the names through a survey. Both campuses set to open in August of this year. Candace.
And right now, temperatures out the door, guys, we are still in those mid-60s, a few low 70s already at play. Throughout the afternoon, we are going to stay near 80 along our coast, near 90 further inland. So certainly another hot, dry day. Fire danger remains high. Now, the good news is there is rain in the near future. Not a huge chance, but at least we could possibly get a couple scattered showers in by early next week. Before we get there, though, it is going to be downright hot come Sunday, Crystal.
All right, I-4 westbound, we're still seeing some delays from Sanford down towards Lake Mary. You can see traffic stop and go, not moving that great. And I'm not sure if it's because of a crash. I don't see a crash being reported in the area, but it's about a half a mile. So just allow a few extra minutes to get through.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories on our new 6 Plus app for your TV.
Hope you have a great Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Go to the
See you later.
beach.